Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the first game of the first game of Outrider Cup 3. As always, I'm Dan Tartaglian, also known as D Tartag 1, coming to you live with the first game of the Ryder Cup. We have Timo Dusel playing light side. Looks like he's going with Y4 Operations, playing Restore Freedom to the Galaxy, Jedi Business, Walkling, and Squadron assignments, versus Hall of Famer Joe Olson, who is playing Agents of the Black Sun, starting quietly observing, wipe them out, all of them, and Shadows of the Empire. Joe, with his first action of the game, goes ahead and plays I Never Ask for Anything Twice. It allows him to pull the first light. Going to get him a starship. So, yeah, so for those who don't know, Timo Dusel is one of those players who likes to get in all of his OCS games in before anybody else. He's usually one of the first people done with the OCS, so it's quite fitting to see that Timo is playing the first game of the Outrider Cup. So right after Joe went ahead and pulled the first light, Timo also went ahead and pulled a ship. He used All Wings Report in and Dark Later Spin to pull Red 5. Not a bad pull for him. Both players should be getting their grabber out here pretty soon. However, Timo went ahead and pulled Do or Do Not as his first shield pull. The Agents of Black Sun deck does like to play Sense, as you have usually 5 Emperors in the deck. I've seen 5, maybe sometimes 6. Those are roughly about the same numbers. So Joe does activate. No grabber yet from Timo. So again, thank you to everybody for tuning in on the first match of the Outrider Cup. There's the Coruscant Imperial Square for Joe. So he did not have to get it from his deck. So it was in his hand. Joe will utilize the Imperial City V card to go out and pull a Black Sun character. Yep, there's the Vigo V. That's going to allow Joe now to get out his Shizor's Palace, start getting out some locations. Yep, the Vigo will go ahead and pull a location. Let's see which one Joe's going to get here. Yep, normally you do want to go out and get the Shizor's Palace site, because that allows you to pull the uplink station and the sewer. And Joe will go ahead and pull out one other site. Yep, there's the uplink station, as I just said. Timo, again, is going to be rocking the Yavin 4 base operations Batmouse version. He played it in the OCS playoffs, got to the finals with it. Actually looked like he was doing pretty well with it. Came really close to winning the entire thing. But unfortunately, he ran into the 4-time winner, Justin Desai. So again, pretty big event. Again, we know that Team Europe won the last Outrider Cup after the USA won the first one. So we have a nice little rubber match going on. So let's see. Yeah, James and I are right on the same thought process. Joe going ahead and pulling out the Fanfare Shield that allows him to go out and get Shizor's Bounty. Kind of a Imperial Barrier effect, per se. Now, instead of Imperial Barrier, though, where it won't allow your opponent to battle and move, you will be able to move your character. So Timo uses one force, pulls out the Camino system, has the Camino clone birthing center from his hand. Again, that is the 2-0. There's Walkling. Assuming he's going to go out and get Haven here. Haven going down to Yavin 4. Going to reduce the cost of all Timo's starships and pilots. Again, thank you for joining us on this cold January afternoon. Sitting here at 15 degrees out in Pennsylvania. So what better way to sit back, relax, and enjoy some Star Wars CCG as we get into the Outrider Cup. Timo goes ahead and plays Red 5 pulls out Luke Skywalker V. Again, it is one of the PC's AI versions. Really good looking card there. And Timo's going to draw. He draws up all the rest of the cards up in his force pile, and he'll then pass turn over Joe. So let's see if Timo is going to go ahead and pull out the battle plan, as right now Joe's doing at least 1 point of damage with the objective. Again, normally this is the Yavin 4 base operations hardest matchup because, again, you're going to have Luke up in space most of the game. And you need Luke to be on the ground to flip Joe back. So Joe's going to be probably on the 7 side of his objective most of this game. Timo go ahead and loses the Camino Clone Training Center from his hand. So he had both of his locations in his hand. Joe uses his objective. Let's see which one it is. He did drain for free at the Shizor's Palace, so he's going to put a card back. Look at the 14 cards that he's got in his force pile. And he's definitely going to get that free ping damage in with the objective as well. Assuming that Joe's putting back a high destiny card. Maybe he's got 1 or 2 Emperors in his hand. We know that one of the card in his 9-card hand is the First Light, as the first action that he did was to pull it with I Never Ask for Anything Twice. Pretty card that people have been have seen a decent amount of play, especially now that we have the First Light Starship. On top of that, the Lost function of the card will allow you to exchange 2 cards in hand with 1 card in your Lost pile, so you can, that way you can get anything back that you need. So, pretty versatile card. But again, we saw that Joe used it to grab the First Light with his first action. Again, Joe is looking at all of the cards in his force pile, so he'll know where each card is. Normally, those cards go back down the way that they are. No shuffling, no deck manipulation or anything, so it's just a way of seeing where everything is. Again, once Joe gets out the Emperor on a Coruscant, he can start utilizing the Shadows of the Empire effect to pull a card, to draw a card off the top of his force pile. Joe moves into his deploy phase, pulls out a card. He's going to go get the last of his Coruscant sites, which is, again, the Shizor's Palace Sewer, made popular in the Shadows of the Empire video game in the early 2000s. One of the best Star Wars games on the N64. I can see Timo trying to shield bust. It wouldn't be a bad idea. Joe decides he's going to go to space really early. Again, we know that he had the First Light in his hand, so he's going to go down with Jabba's Space Cruiser. There's Balatik going down the Camino. Joe threatening 4 points of damage next turn, with a drain of 1 on the ground, a ping of 1 from the objective, and then the drain of 2 at Camino. Dash Rendar's gun that never stopped firing. I'm trying to remember what that gun is. It's been forever since I played that game. For me, the worst stage in that game was definitely the Coruscant sewers, where you had to fight the Dianoga, the giant Dianoga. I hated that. I hate anything that has, like, any video game that has a water level. I'm not a big fan. Joe will play Battle Order, so now Timo will have to pay 3 to drain at Yavin 4 if he so well chooses. Timo activates 13. Joe also activates 1 with Wipe Them Out, all of them. And being that Joe has already played 4 shields, he's not going to be able to play Come Here You Big Coward to stop Timo from retrieving. So Timo is going to be, he would be able to retrieve if he wanted to, but he is going to take a Dark Later spin in the hand with Luke Skywalker V. It might have been problematic, but you know what? In the Star Wars universe, what truly is not problematic when it comes to Star Wars? Again, this is the first game of the Outrider Cup 3 Again, it is a rubber match. Timo will pay to drain. Draws a 4. That will not liberate the system as he's just 1 short. So he is paying to drain for 1 this turn. I know a wise man once said it is not smart to pay to drain for 3, or pay 3 to drain for 1. But in this case, it would have been 3 points of damage from Timo. Timo with the grappling hook going down. As he'll flash Red Squadron 4. And there goes Red Squadron 4 down with Derek Hobby Kilvian going down to Camino. Again, Jabba Space Cruiser has immunity to attrition less than 5. Yeah, I agree that Coward doesn't necessarily matter this game. But yes, resistance will. I agree with you. So Timo will block the drain of 2 at Camino. Joe with 15 cards in his hand. I think if you're Timo, you're going to want to come down with something a little bit more than just the Red Squadron 4. However, Joe's going to barrier the Red Squadron 4. So no fights with Hobby. Again, Hobby saw a lot of action in the N64 video game Rogue Squadron. There's the All Wings report in and Dark Later spin coming out. Now, I'm not 100% sure if Joe is familiar with this match. I know that he is a big fan of Asians the Black Sun. He just recently played it at the Supreme Southern Showdown. Kian will drop down to Yavin 4. Again, that's both the character and the ship going down for a total of 1 force. Timo plays Escape Pod and We're Doomed. He's going to pull out his Hojix. Again, he gets a 5 back into his deck. He pulls a 1 out of his deck. And he gets possibly a card that might come into play this game. Timo will move into his move phase. Again, no battle yet. There's Kian moving over as well. So this tells me that Timo might have a rapid fire in his hand. If he does, he can get the enhanced proton torpedoes out. Might be able to shoot down that Jabba Space Cruiser. When I think Southern, I think Joe Olson. I don't necessarily know about that, Lenny. Lenny, who won the Endor Grand Prix a couple of years ago, made famous with his insane I want that map objective, where he utilized Imperial Supply to out-activate his opponent as much as he wanted. So, Lenny, if you don't like not playing Imperial Supply in your I want that map objective, Lenny Rubin is the guy to thank for that. Joe, as we move into Joe's turn, he's going to activate 15 force, drains for 1 at Coruscant. Again, Joe has 2, he's got a battleground and a system, so he doesn't have to pay. Timo will lose a power pivot and BB-8 and Black Squadron 1, both off the top of his reserve deck. That is a good point. Lenny actually redeemed himself by designing Boba Fett's Blaster Rifle V. I think he designed that after winning the Endor Grand Prix. So if you like playing CCT, the current iteration of CCT, thank Lenny Rubin. Chris Kelly is in the chat after going down to Atlanta to play in the Supreme Southern Showdown. Current design advocate Chris Kelly had looks like he had a lot of fun down there, so we're glad to see that. Joe taking out Force Lightning after deploying the Emperor down to the sewer. I'm assuming that he is going to put the Force Lightning back to look at his force pile. He's got 10 cards left. I mean, there's not really much going on, Lenny, so I will talk about everything if I want to. So Joe taking his time studying each card in his deck. Now that he occupies 3 battlegrounds, once he draws a card with Shadows of the Empire, it's going to cause another point of ping damage to Timo. Joe being very methodical with what he wants to do with his force pile this turn. And he is going to immediately draw a card with Shadows of the Empire. There's that 1 point of damage to Timo, as Timo will lose a 6 off of the top of his reserve deck. Not necessarily the card that you want to lose if you're Timo. And there's a Probot going down to the Yavin 4 Masasi War Room. Joe really wanting to put a lot of pressure on Timo here. Again, the real good benefit of this Yavin 4 base operation deck is you are able to retrieve a lot of cards. There's Jango Fett joining Balatik on the Jabba Space Cruiser. Joe also throws down Noah Escape to get that Imperial Barrier back. I believe that the Camino system is a Parsec 7, whereas Yavin 4 is 4. So he could actually move the Space Cruiser to Yavin 4 if he wanted to. However, that might not be the best thing because, one, the Red 5 is fully immune to attrition. And with Haven on the table, Timo can simply just drop down Starship after Starship if he had them at a lower cost, as well as get in a second Battle Destiny. Joe will pass turn over to Timo. He does keep 2 Force, though. Well, he keeps 1 and then activates 1 with Wipe Them Out, all of them. As we move into Timo's turn, Timo will retrieve with Luke Skywalker V, getting that Destiny 6 card back. He's got 13 Force to work with this turn. Now, one thing that Timo's going to want to do is possibly try and liberate Yavin 4. He is going to go straight after the Emperor with Qui-Gon Jinn, Serene Jedi. We know that Joe has an Imperial Barrier in his hand. Notice that neither player have their do or do not, or there is no Tri-Shield on the table, so I'm assuming that both players are playing sense. Joe with the Imperial Barrier to prevent Qui-Gon Jinn, Serene Jedi from moving or battling this turn. Let's see if Timo has a response. Timo will grab the barrier. And Qui-Gon cannot fight, cannot move. He is stuck at the Coruscant sewers. However, Timo will attempt to pull a Saber with Jedi Business. However, he will miss, and Joe will get a verification of Timo's reserve deck. Oh, do or do not is on Timo's deck. Thank you. It's been a long day, and I haven't had my coffee yet. Poe Dameron going down in front of this Jabba Space Cruiser as an additional pilot on Grey Squadron 1. Timo also utilizes Qui-Gon's game text to pull Meditation from his lost pile. And again, that is a once per game action. And this is the first game of the Outrider Cup 3 Again, Joe Olson versus Timo Dusel. Joe, a Hall of Famer and two-time world champion. Timo Dusel, winner of the Outrider Cup and runner-up in the OCS finals last year. Timo will play organized attack. That's going to allow him to get to make his X-Wings and Y-Wings fully immune to attrition. However, Joe does have the sense and uncertain is the future. He attempts to draw Destiny to cancel. He draws a 4. That's going to cancel the organized attack. However, Joe will have to lose the sense, and he'll have to lose 2 additional cards as well. There goes that Arsing with Blaster Rifle that we just saw that Joe drew for Destiny. He also loses Disarmed as well, and there goes the sense. So the Red Squadron 4 and Gray Squadron 1 are not immune to attrition, are not fully immune to attrition. However, they do have built-in attrition. The Red Squadron 4 is immune to attrition less than 4, and Gray Squadron 1 is immune to attrition less than 5 with Poe Dameron on it. Yes, Balatik and Django are currently on the Jabba's Space Cruiser. Timo draws a 2 for his first Battle Destiny. And he will utilize the All Wings Report and Dark Later Spin to, with Red Squadron's 4's maneuver, to make it a 6. So he has a total Battle Destiny of 8. That does crack the Jabba Space Cruiser immunity. However, that's only going to cost him Joe, Balatik, and Jango Fett. Joe draws a 3 for his first Destiny. He gets another one. He also draws another 3. Now his total is going to be +2, or his total attrition is going to be +2 because of the 7 side of the objective. So let's see what Timo's going to lose here. He'll lose Hobby. Joe will lose Balatik first. There goes the Red Squadron 4, and Joe will lose Jango Fett and attempt to take Boba Fett out of his deck. He will find Boba Fett Bounty Hunter, take him into hand, and the Jabba Space Cruiser will be cleared of all aliens. However, Joe is still threatening quite a bit of damage this turn. Yeah, if Timo was able to play the organized attack there, Timo would not have lost Derek Hobby or the Red Squadron 4, as Joe does take another Force Lightning from his deck. Joe again doing 4 points of damage this next turn, a drain of 2 at the War Room, a drain of 1 at the Palace, and pig damage of, I believe it's just 1. No, I'm sorry. It is going to be 5 damage as he occupies 2 battleground sites, 1 with the Emperor, 1 with Shizor. So yes, that will be an additional 2 damage. So again, Joe is doing 5 points of damage this turn. And Timo is still not on the 7 side of his objective, so he's not going to be able to retrieve during his draw phase. Yes, thank you, Greg. 5 plus the Shadow's Pain. So things are looking pretty good for Mr. Joe Olson as he's got a 12-card hand. Utilize the Imperial Barrier rather nice this game. First, to make it so Hobby could not battle, and then second, to make it so that Qui-Gon could not battle. He still has the Shizor's Bounty and the First Light in his hand. Have some communication between Joe and Timo. Joe is apologizing as he's thinking about taking the card with Shadows into his hand, that he's not deliberately trying to play slow. Joe is not normally a slow player. He is a very methodical type of a player. So, but I do like the fact that they're trying to communicate, trying to be has some good camaraderie between them. To answer your question, I think the person to answer this question would be Leia Daddy himself, Bat Mouse, Mr. Anthony Howard, the designer of this deck. So let's see what let's see if Joe has what Joe's going to do for Timo. And yeah, I think Timo needs to stabilize with this Yavin 4 operations deck. I mean, he's got fully immune Qui-Gon Jedi, Qui-Gon Jinn, Serene Jedi. He's going to have a fully immune Mace Windu who swings twice. It would have been nice to see a lightsaber on Qui-Gon Jinn. Fortunately, Timo did miss pulling a lightsaber earlier in his deploy phase. So as we start into Joe's turn 4, again, he is going to be doing 5 points of damage, plus the eventual Shadows of the Empire ping. So again, looks like things are looking good for Mr. Joe Olson. However, Timo is not the type of player to go down without a fight, so I would not count Timo out of this game just yet. Okay, here we go. Drain of 1 at the Palace. Timo loses Han Chewie and the Falcon V. Drain of 2 at the War Room. There goes the Escape Pod and Ware Doom and a Mace Windu. There's the ping of 2 from the objective. There goes All Wings Reported In and Dark Layer Spin, as well as a Jedi Levitation. Again, the big card there that Timo lost was that Mace Windu. Unfortunately, he's only got 5 cards in his hand to Joe's 11. There's the first light going down in front of the Gray Squadron 1. Joe will utilize Shadows of the Empire to take a card. Timo loses an X-Wing Lasers Cannon. There's the best card in the game. Tarkin's Bounty V going down onto the Emperor. That's going to allow Joe to pull any card he wants out of his deck, or out of his force pile. Zuckus and Miss Hunter will come down as well. That's not good for Timo, as he now will not get any Battle Destiny, as he currently has only ability of 4 at the Camino system. Timo will need some sort of evasion here, whether that is a Rebel Barrier or Hyper Escape. We do know that he has a Hojix in his hand, though. But you definitely do not want to lose the system if you're Timo. I see that the illustrious Hall of Famer Chris Schoenthal has returned to sunny San Diego from his vacation out in Atlanta. So I'm glad to see that Chris has joined us. It's always a good day if Chris Schoenthal comes in and joins us in the chat. Emperor will take a Force Lightning. However, he does miss. Joe does initiate. Timo says, not looking good for me. I think the chat will agree, as well as Joe. Joe does draw a 3 for Battle Destiny, drawing 4 alone with Concussion Rifle non-V, bringing his total power up to 17. Timo draws a 5 for his first Destiny, and a 4 for the second one. That would have brought him up to 15. However, with Zuckus the Misthunter there, his total Battle Destiny is reduced down to 0. I'm sorry, is made to be 0. It is a substitute. So Timo will be down by 11. That's quite a bit. Now, I do believe Kinki, Poe, and the Gray Squadron 1 will cover. However, you still feel kind of bad losing those 3 cards. Especially when Joe is not losing anything. Although I do expect Joe to move the Emperor this turn. There goes Kinkian and Poe. So again, Kinkian and Poe did cover. Yeah, Joe in the chat says, yeah, this was probably the most lopsided match of the 12 games. I do agree. Uh, I know that Timo, in his hyper competitive self, is going to be a little disappointed if he loses this game. However, it is a 12-game tournament where his other 5 teammates can rally back and see if they can overcome this 1-0 deficit if Timo loses. Emperor does move from the sewers to the uplink station. So Timo is going to be able to drain for at least 3 this turn. Vigo joins the Emperor over at the uplink station. Again, if you are interested in seeing what the players played from the Supreme Southern Showdown, once the Outrider Cup has commenced and once it is finished, the deck list from that event will be published. Again, the players from both sides have agreed to delay the deck list from the event from being published, so that way Team Europe does not have a advantage over Team Europe. Team Europe has an advantage over Team USA because most of the players from Team USA were at the event. I think the only one who wasn't was Team Captain Justin Desai. Timo uses 1 to pay to retrieve with Luke. He does retrieve Poe Dameron. Drains for 2 at the sewer. There goes first strike and an Emperor Palpatine off the top. Timo drains for 1 at Yavin 4. Needs a 5 here. He does hit a 5. So that is going to liberate the Yavin 4 system just like in the movie. Unfortunately, that will not flip Timo. Joe will stack a card under Yavin 4. He'll lose 2 to the drain. He loses an Emperor Palpatine and Jabba's through with you. Timo attempts to pull a saber and put it onto Qui-Gon. He misses another saber pull. So Timo needs to do something here this turn, or else he's taking quite a bit in force damage. I do imagine that he's going to move Qui-Gon over in front of the Emperor and the Vigo. There's Kit Fisto going down in front of the Probot. He'll use Kit Fisto to pay 1 to draw the top card of his reserve deck. Timo is using the hologram AI that players get from the Play Star Wars CCG week. That has not been announced yet this year. However, if you are looking to see what other events are being hosted in 2024, go ahead and check out the forums. Chris Schoenthal has already posted the 2024 schedule, including the list of majors this year. You'll notice that we have the next scheduled major is in Indianapolis on April 5th through the 7th. That is the Indianapolis Eclipse event. If you are going to go to that one, make sure you stick around after Sunday, as the eclipse that is the reason for the event will be passing overhead over Indianapolis, and I know a lot of the players are going to be sticking around through Monday. Also on that schedule that Chris went ahead and showed is we released the date for Worlds this year. Worlds again is going to be out over in Bochum, Germany. That is going to be the weekend of September. I believe it is the 16th. Do not quote me on that just yet. I'm actually going to check my phone to make sure. Yes, so I'm sorry, I was incorrect. There is September 19th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Again, Worlds out in Bochum, Germany. I'm excited for that one. I'm hopefully going to be there. I know a lot of the American players have already talked about going over and I know a lot of players are very interested in it. So Timo does not move Qui-Gon Jinn over to block the drain with the where the Emperor and the Vigo are. Joe, as we move into Joe's turn. However, with Kit Fisto down at the War Room, that blocks some of the damage as Luke moves over to Camino in front of Zuckuss and Miss Hunter, First Light, and the Jabba Space Cruiser. Yes, unfortunately, with Luke there, Timo is still having his Destiny substituted to be 0 instead of what he would normally draw. This tells me that either A, he has a hyper escape or some sort of evasion to move Luke away. He's already lost a X-Wing cannon this game, though. So I don't know if he's playing 2 or not. Joe checks out and looks at what is in his force pile. Again, he's got 11 cards in there. He's saved 4 this turn. We know that he has a Boba Fett bounty hunter in his hand. Joe will draw the top card of his force pile in his activate phase. Timo loses Transmission Terminated V. One of the set 23 preview cards that was released before the Supreme Southern Showdown. Stops you from stops your opponent from firing starship weapons using tractor beams or cloaking. Also cancels a hologram or Emperor's Power or an Admiral's Order as well. And it looks like Joe is going to attempt to play Ellis Hellrot to move the Probot from the Yavin 4 roll room over to the Camino birthing chamber. He does draw a 6. Timo does grab it. So Joe does decide to move the Probot. Now, this will be a drain of 2 there. It did cost him 6 force, though. But again, that's still doing, again, he's doing a lot of damage. Joe is doing 6 points of damage plus the Shadows of the Empire pain that he already did. So he's about to do 7 points of damage this turn. There's a drain of 2 at the birthing chamber that goes I don't like sand from hand, as well as Are You Brain Dead off the top of the reserve deck. Joe drains for 1 at the uplink station. Timo loses an All Wings Report In and Dark Later Spin off the top. Believe that is his 3rd All Wings combo. Joe drains for 1 at Shizor's Palace. There goes Red Squadron 1. And there's the 2 force loss for the objective. As we see Qui-Gon Jinn, Serene Jedi, and a few maneuvers all hit the lost pile. Timo up to 22 in lost pile. Joe sitting at 11. As U-3PO, Hayes Hunter's favorite card in Star Wars CCG, goes down in front of Qui-Gon Jinn, Serene Jedi to block that drain of 2. Again, Hayes Hunter, who just recently was the runner-up at the Supreme Southern Showdown. Hayes and fellow teammate Jeff Levine got to the finals, and both players decided to not play in the finals, and Jeff Levine was named the champion of the Supreme Southern Showdown. So again, big congrats to Jeff for winning the event. Those all streamed games will be uploaded to YouTube either today or later tomorrow. So if you're looking to see what all the action was from the Supreme Southern Showdown, please visit the PC's YouTube site, possibly later tomorrow. Joe checking out the 2 cards in his reserve deck via his objective. I do expect to see Joe initiate a fight up at Camino. Again, whether or not Timo has an answer to Zuckuss and Miss Hunter, that is yet to be determined. Joe knows that Timo has lost an X-Wing cannons. There's the rapid fire from Timo's hand. See, is an X-Wing laser cannon in Timo's future. And it looks like Joe is saying that he has a sense. As he does grab the rapid fire. And he does play the sense. He draws a 3 for Destiny that's going to cancel the rapid fire. Joe will lose 2 cards, though. There goes Forlom and Jab is through with you. Rapid fire is grabbed. Sense goes to the lost pile. So I don't know if Timo has any other tricks here before we go into battle, or any other tricks before Battle Destiny. As action is on Timo Dusel. Hyper Escape would end the battle for Timo. Now, one positive is Joe's not going to be able to move any of those starships to Yavin 4 on his move phase, as he's got no force left. Timo thinking long and hard about what his options here are. Again, the red 5 does have immunity. As Timo pays 1 to draw the top card of his reserve deck. Action moves over back to Joe. Joe passes back over to Timo. Again, Timo thinking about what he wants to do here. If he's got an answer now, the real question is if Joe's draw high enough, Joe will draw a 3, bringing his total up to 17. Again, Timo can lose the Gray Squadron 1 to reduce some of the damage here, though. Timo doesn't draw Destiny, as he knows he's only getting a 0. There goes the Gray Squadron 1. Joe not losing anything in the fight. There goes an organized attack. Timo will lose Luke Skywalker V. And immediately place Walkling out of play to retrieve Luke. As Solomon SWCCG pointed out in the chat, Timo can easily just get Luke back, then activate down to him as he would be the top card. Use 1, draw 1 with Kit Festo, and then redeploy Luke. But again, Timo with 13 cards in Life Force, 6 in hand. Joe also has 13 in Life Force, but he has 9 in hand. Timo will play Hear Me Baby Hold Together. That way he can get Simple Tricks and Nonsense out. Not necessarily a high impact card in this game, but we'll see. Yeah, if Timo can somehow shoot down the Zuckuss and Miss Hunter, draw high enough to get rid of the First Light, and as long as he can get rid of one of those ships, I think he's in halfway decent position. But again, he's lost so much so fast right now. He's not flipped. It's just not looking good. There's Luke going down in front of Prince Shizor. Very interesting. So, I mean, that's going to flip Joe back. As there's Wedge Antilles as well. We know that Joe has yet to lose the Shizor's Bounty. There's Shizor's Bounty going down, blocking Wedge Antilles from battling. Yeah, Luke is not a Red Squadron pilot. Princess Leia going down and Red 5. Yeah, I know that was a trivia question in the one episode of top eight with Corn and Batmouse. It was asked uh, like what Lukes are Red Squadron pilot. That Luke is not a Red Squadron pilot. Red 5 and R2D2 in Red 5 make him a Red 5 pilot. So, but Leia on the Red 5 will move over to Yavin 4. I don't know if Timo realizes that Luke is not a pilot yet, but he's going to find out one way or another. As Joe will take Force Lightning into hand. Again, he is on the... Both players are now on the zero side of their objectives. But once Joe gets rid of Luke again, he will flip back. Yeah, I don't think Leia's ever really piloted anything in the movies. So, and yet she's a pilot. Just saying. If anything, 3PO is a pilot. We need 3PO to be a pilot, just like in episode 3. I know Chris Kelly was in the chat. Maybe he's in the chat still. We can make a 3PO Royal Naboo pilot. Yeah, I know R2 and 3PO can pilot the Falcon, but we need one that can pilot episode 1 effects. The card that is stacked on the Emperor is the best card in Star Wars CCG, Tarkin's Bounty V. As we see Joe drain for 2 at Camino. There goes an Organized Attack and Jedi Lightsaber. Drains for 2 at the Camino Clone Birthing Center. There goes Yoda, Master of the Force, and Rebel Artillery. P-59 goes down to the Shizor's Palace and with Prince Shizor. Dr. Evazan and Ponda Baba joining the fun. This looks very bad for Timo Dusel. Joe initiates. P-59 will take a shot at Wedge Antilles. Draws a 5. He could have attempted to hit Luke, but it really doesn't matter, as Timo will say GG and concede, as Team USA will take Game 1 of the Outrider Cup. So, congrats to Joe on winning the first game of the Outrider Cup 3. We'll have, as more games get scheduled, we'll make sure that everybody gets notified of the games. So, thanks to everybody for tuning in today. It has been a pleasure hosting the event, or hosting this stream. Till next time, everybody take care. Enjoy yourselves. If you're on the east, or if you're pounded in, under snow this week right now, be safe out there. It is cold. Until next time, everybody take care, and may the force be with you.